I was just excited, and then running back to the halfway line, I looked up and I saw my name, and I was like, I wonder how that happened. It must be a mistake or something. And then, when the whistle blew for 90th minute, I looked up again and my name was still there, and I was like, oh, okay, I'll take it.
My guest today is a great American, a gent who's walked a road less travelled, rising up from Los Angeles playing fields to set off on a grand tour of Europe's Star Wars cantina of football leagues. Germany's Bundesliga, the Dutch Eredivisie, Danish Superliga, Turkish Super League, the English Championship. He's experienced them all, rising harder and stronger to deliver two moments of true wonder for both his club, Championship wonders Coventry, and his nation via the United States men's national team within 8 days of each other. It's a joy to welcome the pride of Los Angeles and freshly minted CONCACAF Nations League champion. It's Mr. Haji Wright.
Hello, guys. Thanks for having me. Happy to be here.
Oh, Haji, let's begin at the beginning. You grew up in Culver City on the west side of Los Angeles, came from an athletic family. Your cousin, Joseph Adai, won the Super Bowl as a running back in 2007 with the Indianapolis Colts. Your younger brother, Hanif, also a soccer player. Had you take us back to your earliest moments playing soccer? Where were you? What was it about the feeling of having the ball at your feet that made you think, this is the sport for me?
Yeah, just taking it back to the beginning. Obviously, being from California, being from America, I obviously tried other sports, basketball, football, obviously. But, I just started at a young age playing soccer with my friends at school, and eventually became an obsession to watching YouTube videos, watching my favorite players, them produce magic on the pitch. And, I came up through a small AYSO team in my area, started playing for them. We were in Maniacs when I was about 5, 6, 7.
You're the kid who scored 12 goals a game, Haji.
Yeah, that was me. I just kind of got obsessed with the sport and kind of fell in love with it. At that time, it wasn't really normal.
You played and probably excelled at many sports. What was it about football that made you think, this is going to be mine?
For me, I always tell people I felt like a sense of freedom playing soccer. I think, just being outside, being on the pitch, just at that age, playing with your friends, just running around, having just the time of our lives, just really felt freeing and exhilarating to me at that young age.
I love this story. 5th grader at Linwood Howe Elementary. You wrote in your yearbook the following. You wrote, when I'm 25 years old, I hope to be the best professional soccer player in the world. I also hope to meet my idol, Ronaldinho. I want to be a soccer player because I love the thrill of soccer. I love to score goals, help my team win the finals. I am the captain. I love soccer. And Haji, in many ways, you're a prophet. But be honest, kid in LA in the early 2000s, what did 9 or 10-year-old Haji really dream was possible for you in terms of a football career?
Being the dreamer that I am at that young age, I thought the world was my oyster, really. I really didn't put anything past me. And then having gone to loads and loads of LA Galaxy games, I wanted to play there. I wanted to be playing on the pitch with Donovan, with David Beckham at that time. So, yeah, I really wanted to, play in the Home Depot, as it was called back then. That was really my number one dream.
Home Depot, the field of dreams. And you did join the LA Galaxy Academy as a young teenager in 2012. And then age 17, 2015 this was, you were still too young to sign for a European club. You were eager to start your pro career and you signed with the New York Cosmos. That same year, you became part of the US men's national team under 17 squad that went down to Chile for the Youth World Cup. So many American fans today love looking at photos from that squad because they are a who's who of the current US men's national team. Christian Pulisic, Tyler Adams, Luca De La Torre, Brandon Vasquez, Alex Zendejas. The boys, they were all there. And this was a real learning experience. I think they took 1 point from 3 games. But my God, looking at the photos of you as a group, it looks like you were all just having such a blast together, savouring every moment. All of you dyed your hair blonde. What is your favourite memory of that tournament, Haji?
Probably just the fun we had in the hotel. I think very close-knit group. We're all really close still nowadays. So, just leading up into that World Cup at residency, I was really close with Christian, his cousin Will, It's in their house. We all shared a room, an apartment, really. So for those 2 years that we were at residency, we're kind of best friends. We did everything together. So it's just the moments off the pitch that we shared that really kind of stuck with me.
Whose idea was it to go and get the bleach bottle out and go legally blonde?
I don't know. It's just us being young, probably not the best decision. I remember my mom kind of telling me off for it, telling me it doesn't look good, and that it wasn't even blonde, it was more orange than anything.
You got to take it from me, Haji. You got to enjoy it while you've got it. You've spoken about how important it was for you to get into that US men's national team residency program in Florida, which was then in operation. It was designed to gather, after scouting, the best players in the nation, have them develop together as a group. Past graduates include King Kyle Beckerman, DeMarcus Beasley, and Landon Donovan. And as you mentioned, your class included Christian Pulisic and his cousin Will, a goalkeeper. And I believe you actually, as you say, shared a room with Will. I do think about the three of you there, just guys playing music late at night in the dorms. I know you're a big Gossip Girl fan, but just shooting the crap about what was possible. What did you and Christian think would happen career-wise during those late night conversations? And were you nervous at all when you talked about going abroad, or were you all just so mentally hungry? It was just like, yeah, let's do this.
No, I don't think either of us are really apprehensive. I think we were both really confident young men at that time. We knew we had talent, and we knew we had to work hard to reach our goals. I think we really just wanted our chance because we knew we could make it in professional football. And I think, again, both confident young men at that time. So I don't think either of us were really apprehensive. I think we really, really wanted to go out and show ourselves and just be competitive every game and try and do our best.
I know a lot of German clubs in particular came to watch you all. I've actually spoken to a bunch of scouts from back then, and they all say that you, Haji Wright, looked like the elite player in that pool. And April 2016, you signed with German club Schalke, quickly joined by US men's national team teammate Weston McKennie. And a lot of young American players who move to Germany get complete culture shock on and off the field. And in true Californian fashion, you quickly admitted, I wasn't prepared for it. I didn't even realize it could get that cold on this planet, which I just love, Haji. But besides the weather, can you describe just how shocked you were by the level of play that you encountered on the training field and how it was different to what you were familiar with in the United States?
At that time, I think I was under 17, under 18 almost. Just the intensity that they played with at that age, it was very similar to how men play and how they were prepared to go into every training and every game like it's their last, really, like how the men's game is, really. And that wasn't really something at that time that we were doing at the LA Galaxy Academy. We were kind of, just in training, going through the motions sometimes not sprinting, just, trying to like improve our skills, but not improve every part of the game. And in Germany, it was kind of, you have to be a well-rounded player before you're just a talented dribbler, a finisher, great defender, whatever it may be.
So it was just mentally challenging as well as physical.
Yeah, it was. You were on the whole time in training, and that was something you just wasn't used to, really.
Was it inspiring? Was it debilitating? Was it like, oh crap, this is going to be harder than we felt? Like emotionally, what was that first couple of weeks like?
For me personally, it was a bit frustrating to see players, a bit further ahead than me at that time. So it pushed me, really. It started a kind of little fire in me because I wanted to be at the same level they were at. Of course, at Schalke, I don't know how it is at other clubs, but the way the training ground is set up, you can watch the first team and basically the training ground is situated right outside the stadium. So you're looking towards your goal during every training. And I've always wanted to play in the stadium, and I wanted to be a fan favorite and to perform for the club. So it was just like growing as a player and taking each step and having the patience to learn from the coaches and everyone around you.
You made your debut with Schalke's under-19 side. You scored twice in a 3-1 win against Borussia Mönchengladbach. You were soon promoted to the first team and made 7 appearances in about a year and a half there. You scored once, a goal, have to note, was assisted by Weston McKennie. And from Schalke, you went to Dutch side, Venlo, and an odyssey of types began. You went to Sønderjyske in Denmark. And I remember thinking about you in this time, Haji. You weren't a part of the US men's national team setup then. You were 6,000 miles from home. The pandemic was raging. You were experiencing a frustrating spell in your career in which goals were hard to come by. And you've talked openly about this being a time in your life when you were struggling with your confidence. We'll get to the glorious moments in just a second, but can you take us to that stage and describe almost the loneliness and the lows for us?
Yeah, I mean, it was lonely. I was by myself a lot in a different country that I wasn't really used to. But yeah, forced me to grow. Really, I really had no other option as a person and as a player. And I kind of just, grounded myself and really had to think about what I wanted to do in football. And yeah, I just really had to dedicate myself, and that's what I ended up happening. Is dedicated myself to only soccer and just focused on performance and improvement.
In that moment of deciding to dedicate yourself to football, the hard moment, was the one person that you really lent on? Was the one piece of advice that really unlocked the decision for you, the process? How did you process this decision?
My agent at that time, Fard, he was probably the person closest to me. He still is the person closest to me regarding the sport and soccer in my career. And we had multiple conversations about just what I want in my career and how do I go about getting it. And we came across the topic of performance, and like for me, it was really just not this too much of a lackadaisical approach to games, but just not enough fire, and I need everything now, and I need to take it, and no one's going to give it to me really. And it was just more about getting that out of me and having that personify into my matches.
2021, like the world at large, things begin to look a little brighter for you. You left the cold darkness of Denmark for the sun and sea of Antalya, Turkey, new club, surge of form. And by season's end, you'd scored 14 goals in 32 appearances. I think it was fourth best in the entire league. Your name starts making its way into conversations about the World Cup roster. Prior to 2022, I think you'd last played with the under-23 squad in 2019. And 7 months out from the US's first World Cup since 2014, we had 4 final home games. You weren't on any of the rosters in the 5 qualifying windows. So where were you when you found out you'd been called back to camp, that you'd be reuniting with your boys, with Pulisic, with Weston, with Tyler Adams?
I was at home in Turkey originally when he called me, and that was my first time with the national team, if I'm correct. And I just remember, being super excited to see all the guys again. Tyler was there, Christian was there, Weston was there, the guys I grew up with. Luca De La Torre was someone who I'm really close with, someone from Southern California. So I was really excited to see all of them, and be in the national team setup with those guys. Having been in the youth team setup and finally get a first team look, and we were playing against a few really good teams in Morocco and Uruguay, and then just super excited to be with the team and have the opportunity to show myself.
Does Greg call you out the blue, or do you get tipped off through your agent that a recall's coming? How does that work, Haji?
No, obviously I've known Greg before that, and we'd have a couple of conversations about form and how I was doing and what he expected from me if I were to be called into camp. And he told me he's always watching and, watching the games and seeing how I am and seeing how I'm doing mentally and physically, and, just keeping up with us as players. And, having these short conversations with him help kind of give you an idea of where your standing is coming into the next camp.
First game against Morocco, you came on as a substitute for Jesus Ferreira, scored a penalty in the 64th minute to put the US 3-0 up. And honestly, it felt like your friends from the under-17 days were genuinely so giddy to watch you score. But it wasn't all smooth going. You got to start in a truly awful set of conditions. I mean, the mud and mire against El Salvador. You came off at half-time. And the last 2 games before the World Cup, you again weren't in the squad, but you just kept banging in the goals in Turkey. Rumours around the squad selection had you and Union Berlin striker Jordan Pefok in a dead heat. And then you got the FaceTime call from Greg on squad reveal day. I know you were in Turkey. I think you've said you'd mentally prepared for it to be bad news, which is amazing. Talk us through where you were. And when you see the Berhalter name pop up on your phone, the emotions you go through as you answer.
Yeah. Again, I was at home in Turkey when he called me. And, on the FaceTime call, I thought something was a bit unusual with FaceTime and everything through Greg. I never really had that before. So, your stomach gets a little bit giddy, you get butterflies in your stomach. And, I was already expecting the worst, really. So I was, prior to the call, already nervous, kind of expecting the call to come in the next few days. And then when the call actually came, I saw him on FaceTime and I couldn't really speak because of the nerves, really. So I was just like forcing the words out, just trying to keep it, keep the conversation going. And yeah, towards the end, he told me I'd be invited to come and play at the World Cup. And I didn't really know how to react. I couldn't really believe the reality of it. And yeah, as soon as we got off the call, I called my mother and called my agent Farid at the time just to tell them the news. And they didn't believe it either. So yeah, it was just really exciting.
What did your mum say?
Again, like lost for words, really. She said that's something I've been dreaming of my whole life. And that's something I was very verbal with her as a child and growing up through my career. And she was just super excited for me.
God, man, making that fifth grade essay prophecy come true, Haji Wright. I mean, the stuff of dreams. But I know the World Cup experience was also frustrating. I mean, first of all, when you look back on the joys and wonders of a World Cup, what's the happiest memory of the 2023 tournament that you have?
Scoring the first goal against Wales when Timothy Weah scored. I think celebrating with everyone, just how surreal it was to see him score and just to celebrate with everybody on the side. There was no toxicity in the group at all. It was like genuine happiness for everyone who was performing well. And it was just a really exciting moment to see a person that I've known for a while to score in a World Cup, and just genuinely happy for him to celebrate as a group with all the guys I grew up with.
It's such an exhilarating moment. It really felt in that second that everything was possible. I do have to ask you about your goal. I love that line that I looked at the scoreboard, saw my name and was like, okay, I'll take it.
When it happened, I didn't see the ball go in. The ball kind of came in behind me and I was able to get a flick on it. And I originally thought the ball had flicked in behind me and Walker Zimmerman had headed it in because I saw him in the goal. And I was thinking, yes, we have one back. Hopefully we can grab another one, because at that point it was only 2-1. And I was just excited. And then running back to the halfway line, I looked up and I saw my name and I was like, I wonder how that happened. It must be a mistake or something. And then, when the whistle blew for 90th minute, I looked up again and my name was still there. And I was like, oh, okay, I'll take it.
Actually, you've scored a World Cup bloody goal. I've got to tell you, there's just a handful of Americans in our nation's history who've done that. No one, not even Walker bloody Zimmerman, can take that away from you, Haji.
Yeah, it was a great moment. After the fact, when it came to realization, I was really proud of it, really happy that it ended up counting for me.
You played, you scored, but I know the experience was also frustrating. I mean, I know the US is loaded with talent. The team was only able to score 3 times in 4 games. There was then all the challenges after the tournament. And as a player, I know you had a sense of the bittersweet of the experience, sense that you'd given your all. You'd trained so bloody hard. You dreamt of representing your nation. You'd pulled on an American jersey in the World Cup play. You'd even scored. But the striker pool also bore, I think, more than its fair share of criticism from US fans in the wake. Did you feel a sense of that?
Yeah, I mean, strikers are supposed to score. And like you said, we only scored 3 goals in 4 games. So it wasn't really productive from us strikers. So I think in many ways the criticism was fair. But it was frustrating for us as a group. I feel like we all had the feeling that we could have gone a lot further than we did. And it was just World Cup play. It comes down to one game in the game of the day, and whoever's better in form at the match and they win, they go through, and that's it. You don't have a second chance, really.
So the feeling that you left with was what, Haji?
It was disappointing because, again, we felt we could go way further and we had the talent in our perception to beat Holland at that time. And we felt like we could cause them damage and make them uncomfortable.
After that disappointment, you returned back to Turkey. You just kept scoring. I think in the final 10 games of the Super League, you scored 9 goals, which grabbed the attention of English clubs. And West Midlands, sleeping giant Coventry, ended up shelling a club record $9.7 million to bring you to the Midlands, to the Championship. You told Sky Sports when you arrived, England was always my goal. So Coventry, this city in the middle of England, in post-industrial city, once known for its motor industry. Haji, how would you describe Coventry to Americans who've never been there? Because it is a singular place.
Yeah, it's a real working class city, I'd say. A lot of people striving just to get by, and they go to their jobs every day and they work hard and they're in a decent earning. And I think of a lot of Americans, they can relate to that, just working class every day and trying to get yours.
This season, you have been prolific, partnering with the pride of Everton, the quite potent, now he's not at Everton, Ellis Sims. You scored a team-high 14 league goals, but you grabbed national headlines last month in the FA Cup quarter-finals. Coventry trailing Premier League Wolves 2-1 after a rapid 1-2 punch of goals by Wolves in the 83rd and 88th minute. And heading into stoppage time, a semi-final place at Wembley on the line. Really felt like Coventry were done, but you had other ideas. You floated in a ball, headed back to Ellis Sims to head home. Coventry level in the 97th minute, into time added on, and it must have felt endless. 100 minutes on the clock at Molineux. Sims pulled two defenders his way, slipped the ball to you. You're on the edge of the box. Had you describe your mindset as that ball comes to you? Can you describe in your own words what you did?
Yeah, it's funny. That whole, I don't know, I would say week, but we had 2-3 days leading into the game. We were practicing that exact finish 2-3 days straight, and I couldn't score, and I couldn't even hit the target at that time. And I was just in training. I knew that was my shot. Usually, when I shoot and I'm in that position, it goes in. I know exactly the technique behind it and everything. But the whole week leading into the game, I couldn't do it. And in the game, I had a few opportunities from a similar position where I was missing. And there's one that I went wide. There's one that I actually slid near post that got saved. And then, in extra time, I get the exact same opportunity. And I realized the ball was rolling perfectly from my right foot. So I just opened up my body and I just really passed it into the corner. And as soon as I hit it, I could tell by the goalkeeper's positioning he wasn't going to get there. And I could see exactly where in this tight net he was going to end up landing in. So as soon as I hit it, really, I knew it was going to go in. So just wheeled off to go celebrate with the fans.
When that ball comes to you, do you think in that second, or is it just instinctual?
Instinct, yeah. I had a quick look at where the goalkeeper was and where the defender was in front of me. And I realized I had that little lane to curl it around him. And yeah, that's what I did.
God, it was exquisite, man. I mean, really, the celebration, a manic run, a knee slide. I mean, you had just delivered a moment of wonder which will be celebrated for a generation of Coventry fans. And we've talked about everything that's led to that moment, your sacrifice, your journey, the good times, the hard times, the grind, the tenacity. Can you put into words, as you celebrated, what did it feel like in that moment, Haji?
It felt great, playing against another Midlands team in the Midlands. And to win the game in the fashion that we did, I think they literally kicked off, we cleared the ball, and the game was over. So there really wasn't any time left. And it just it felt great, really, because we left everything on the pitch after the game. I was absolutely shattered. And then, it just felt great to win in that fashion.
I spoke to your agent that afternoon, Farid Lutfi, and he told me the story that's now come out at camp, that you were going to take 4 or 5 days off with your family. I believe you were going to go a warm weather setting like Dubai or something, right?
Yeah.
When Greg Berhalter calls you, every time the Berhalter name comes up on the phone, it's just another adventure, Haji. And he tells you Josh Sargent's injured, dropped out the US Nations League squad. Could you play? And I did think, like, how you process that decision in your mind, serve your nation versus ditching your parents. How did that go, Haji?
Yeah, it wasn't really a tough decision. Just have to say, it was pretty straightforward for me. It was just kind of unfortunate. I kind of had to play the role of I have to break the information to my family and to my mom, who were there at the time in the car with me, because we were on the way to the airport when I got the call with Greg. And
did you do good news, bad news, Haji?
Like inside, obviously, I was really happy, but I couldn't really show that to my family because they're excited for me to go on vacation with them. So I kind of had to play a role and just kind of, I have to go to national team. And then, broke them the news. And then I told Greg, I was going to go already. I already knew I was going to go when I got the call from Greg. So, it felt great to be called back up. I love being in with the guys, love being in the national team set up. But, yeah.
Did your parents go anyway? Did they have an okay time without you?
Yeah, it was Dubai in the end, so they went warm weather. Couldn't really complain. It was probably, what I've heard, it was a really nice trip.
Back with the United States team, reconnecting in Dallas. By the way, the funny thing about international football, you have so few training sessions to get a sense of what you're actually going to do on the field, and you'd arrive a little late. How many training sessions did you even have before the Jamaica game?
I think we had 2 or 3, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, it's a very short time to prepare for a game and to get tactics in place with players coming in from different squads, different countries, playing a different style of soccer. So it's a bit tough for the coach and the staff, but as it works out, I think they did pretty well, having won the tournament. So
Into the game, you're on the bench. Within 30 seconds, this match went full on March Madness bracket buster. Jamaica score, quickest goal scored against US this century. And then it's low block city. US can't break through. 63 minutes, you sub in with Ricardo Pepi and Tyler Adams. You're still 1-0 down. What were you told to do? What were the instructions?
Greg told me initially they're playing a low block, but they were leaving spaces in behind. He told me to just attack the spaces originally. I came in on the left wing, and he wanted me to use the space that the right back and the right center back were leaving, and that's what I immediately tried to do with players like Gio and the team, and Christian and Tyler Adams, Wes McKinney, players who can pick passes. To just try to do my best to get in behind them and create problems.
95 minutes, 24 seconds. Your team coax an equaliser, own goal to boot. Then in the 96th minute, Jamaica seemed gassed. Pulisic surged forward, dispossessed. Ball fell to the feet of Gio Reyna. What a footballer when he gets minutes on the field. And he just skipped one way, slipped a disguise past the other, freed you. You shimmied, created space, and then just thrashed home with aplomb. Can you describe your mind in that moment, Haji, that you just scored a winner in the FA Cup quarter-final and now this?
Yeah, I was excited, obviously. Didn't really let the occasion get to me much. I was excited to have scored and to have helped the team, get into the next round, the final. And, when the opportunity came about, I kind of just stayed calm. I'd been in situations so often this season with Coventry that I kind of knew exactly what I needed to do to score. And, had to beat one man. And then I just, was able to shift it to my left foot. And then I knew once I was in front of the goal, 1v1 with the goalkeeper, he was going to have to free up one side. And, went across him and went in.
You make it sound so chill.
Yeah, it's just my personality. It wasn't that easy, obviously, but it's just how my perception of it was.
You do, though. I mean, there was just a sheer relief for that goal. And then you scored an emphatic third in the 109th minute. Again, another exquisite Gio pass, bisecting 3 defenders. Sexy, sexy football. Gio's had his challenges this past 18 months, and this game felt like such a joy for him to be the gents together who turned the game. I think you became the first player to score multiple goals as a substitute in a knockout game in our nation's history. What did you and Gio say to each other at that moment or after the game? Was there a sense of, yes, together, you and me, we turned this game on its head?
I think when it comes to the national team and playing in the Nations League, we kind of have this sense of we need to win the tournament. And that's kind of what's feeling throughout the camp. We need to get to the final. We need to win. We need to dominate teams. And I think, when we beat Jamaica, it was kind of a sense of we did it, but we should have done it a lot earlier than we did.
I've got to ask you, United States have so many striking options right now. Flo Balogun, Ricardo Pepi, Josh Sargent, Brandon Vasquez, you, very much you. The battle for the place. There's just so many options, so much competition, and everyone feels like they're scoring. How do you experience it every weekend? Seeing like, oh my God, Josh Sargent scored again, Pepe scored again. Is it energizing that you're all in this together? Or is part of you just like, oh, Ricardo Pepi, please take a week off, man?
No, yeah, I'd say it's energizing, playing in the same competition as Josh Sargent. Seeing him score, last 15 games in a row or something crazy like that since his injury. It's nice to see because I know Josh and he's a nice guy. He's a great player as well. So I think it's like healthy competition for us. I think if Josh wasn't doing what he's doing, maybe I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing if the competition wasn't there. So I think we all push each other in positive ways. And when we get into camp, we try and portray that same confidence with the national team.
Haji, Cooper is 77 days away. Do you think about it? Do you let yourself dream? If you do, what do you dream about?
Yeah, I just try and take it day for day. Really, I try to perform every game here with Coventry to hopefully make the playoffs and hopefully the FA Cup final. And then when that day comes, hopefully, I'll be with the team and be a part of it, and we can go far in the tournament. I think we have a great team, and if everybody stays fit, I think we have a real chance of going far in the tournament.
You've got that FA Cup semi-final against Manchester United at Wembley. Coventry currently 7th with a game in hand in that Premier League playoff place race, one of the most competitive championship races in modern times. Do you view this next 4 to 6 week stretch as a golden opportunity to silence doubters and to make sure the entire footballing world knows the name Haji Wright? How do you view it?
Yeah, it's an opportunity for us. I think we've done well to be in the position we are throughout the whole season with all of the games and all the congestion and everything that's come to us. I think we've dealt with it pretty well so far. And personally, I haven't reached my goal that I've set myself for this season. So I want to keep attacking. I want to keep providing and striving for better. And I'm still hungry for more success.
We American fans dream too. You know that. It's a very big dreaming fan base. What is your message to American fans ahead of this summer and the Copa America?
Yeah, just dream. I think we have to be realistic with ourselves, but we have a great team. Why can't we go to the final? Why can't we win the tournament? There have been teams that have less talent than the talent we have currently in our current pool, gone to the final and competed in the final. So why couldn't we do it?
Haji, last question for you. You've had some journey from LA via New York to Schalke, Sandhausen, Venlo, Hardeslev, Antalya to Coventry. I actually know you speak a lot of languages now, as well as speaking a language of goal scoring. You've had great days. You've had some lonely ones. You've seen fire. You've seen rain. You've soared in the FA Cup with the whole world watching. You've delivered for your nation. What's a lesson about life that you've learned along the way?
I think one lesson that everybody can apply to their day to day lives is just no matter how bad the day gets or how great the day has been, there's always a next day. There's always a tomorrow. So I think as long as you keep going and you keep fighting, eventually you'll see better days.
Godspeed, Haji Wright. You're a remarkable human being. To you, to your family, to your team in that FA Cup semi final, and to so much more joy in a US men's national team jersey.
Thank you. Thank you.
Courage.